What is up? This is the combo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. OakRidgeFord.com. Damn it. Damn, damn, damn it. That'll do it. The Leafs lose their second round Stanley Cup playoff series to the Panthers. 4-1, a 3-2 overtime loser tonight. Shit. And I'm upset. I'm not upset, but I'm a little ticked off because I wanted to see more hockey. And William Nylander scoring that beautiful goal, of perfect, exemplary, prototypical, stereotypical William Nylander goal late in the game to make it 2-2, beating Sergei Bobrovsky, who had no business allowing goals tonight. Like that guy, what, 50 saves? Like stupid. So the Leafs peppered him, but they still lost. Guys, it's not for lack of trying. Absolutely not. The Leafs emptied the tank against the Florida Panthers, but this is all they had. That's it. And it wasn't good enough. A 3-2 overtime loser in game 5, and that'll end their season. Another successful regular season for this group. The most success it's ever achieved in the playoffs, winning the first round, 6 games against Tampa, going 5 against Florida. And that's all she wrote. OG's Converse, thanks for being with me tonight. You could have been anywhere this evening. There's all kinds of podcasts operating right now, doing live streams, all the big daddy radio stations to post game. Instead of being there, you're with me. Daryl LeBlanc, heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker in overtime when you lose, right? During the regular season, during the playoffs. But being down in the series the way the Leafs were, not necessarily a heartbreaker. Is this season heartbreaking? It depends on where you are in your fandom. I'm 47 years old, and my fandom really started in like 92, 93, and the heartbreaks of losing in the conference finals. But I'm so young. There's so much more to go, or so I thought. There hasn't been that much playoff success for me to chew on. So losing like this is definitely heartbreaking. I'm standing in front of my big screen TV. My wife's just like rolling her eyes, and I know she's with me, but she's got to keep her composure. And then Nick Cousins, like, come on, man. I mean, he's like Nick Paul. Scored to eliminate the Leafs last year. Did I see my brother Bronk in the chat? Oh, there he is, my brother. Love you, Norm. You guys preach the truth. So do you, man. What was that picture you had of you in front of, was it Scotiabank Arena? You're getting ready for the game. You had your kilt on. Julian Bronk, I love you, brother. Thanks so much for being here. OG's Converts, like the content, subscribe to the channel. This is not the last show of season 5. Mike and I will do a locker cleanout show, and we'll do all kinds of speculation. As of tonight, we'll just talk about what happened in the game, and deal with it. The thing about it is that the Leafs didn't play poorly. They certainly didn't play excessively well, but they didn't play poorly, and that's the shitty thing. It's give me all, give me nothing, give me all, give me nothing, and then let's go for it. If this is as good as they can give us, thank you. God bless you. Clearly, it's not good enough, because losing 1-goal games and losing puck battles, and failing to engage in the physicality that your opposition brings because that's their game, is a problem. I was looking at the Vegas Edmonton series, and that thing's far from being concluded. But the big daddies are lighting the lamp. Like Draisaitl's got a bazillion points. McDavid does what he does. Marner, no points tonight. Matthews, no points tonight. Nylander, yeah, sure, great goal. Thank you, appreciate it. Tavares picked up a point to get on the score sheet. All of that money to your top guys. That was the difference. The support players did their job. The goaltenders did their job. The defense did their job. Justin Hall was brutal getting the puck out of his own end, and he's got to be reassessed. But he didn't cause a catastrophe tonight. Austin Matthews didn't take over the series, right? He's a generational player, and he was really nowhere to be found in the series. Thank you for the heart. Thank you for the Art Ross trophies. Thank you for the Rocket Richard trophies. We appreciate it. Amazing. You've lit up the lamp. You've been one of the great players of the last 6 years. And you did a nice job in the first round, but there are 4 rounds. 4 rounds. You're getting paid all that money, and you're going to get paid humongously in the next couple of years. Mike Augello seems to think that Austin Matthews will be the highest paid player in the league. After what happened or didn't happen against the Panthers, do you still think Austin Matthews should make more than Connor McDavid, who's just like he's doing what he can to contribute for the Oilers against the Vegas Golden Knights? But we know that the Oilers leave a lot to be desired, the same way the Leafs do. But man, him and Leon Draisaitl they're doing what stars do. The stars do what they do. And when you get to these crunch times, the stars have to steal the show. This is they really, guys, OGs and converts. The reason the Leafs lost in 5 games, and the reason the Leafs aren't continuing to play or don't have the better opportunity to win the series, the stars just didn't show up the way they needed to. And we can put it on them for being inept when their services were required the most. We can also give Florida the credit that it deserves. Coming off that high of sweeping the Boston Bruins, or at least getting the 3 straight wins to move into the second round, they just were relentless. And the fact that they were winning 1-goal games, 2-goal games, grinding an OT wins, tells you that the Florida Panthers aren't that great. They're just putting the effort in. And the goaltender is playing all world in his mid-30s, playing all world. OG's Converse, thanks so much for being here. Let's go to Super Monkey Ball. The Leafs don't need to change the core. We got past the first round. Baby steps. The guys are still learning. Monkey Ball. What do you mean still learning? Like, this is 7 years into the project, man. Like, still learning. Pat Kane was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks in 2007. Those bastards were hoisting a cup in 2010. Stop it with the still learning stuff. And thank you for being here, but they're not still learning. Austin Matthews has all of his personal accolades. This guy should be running roughshod all over the playoffs. And I know it's hard, and he might be concealing an injury. God bless him. But come on, man. This is where the stars shine. Like, we can look at all Alexander Ovechkin in the Washington Capitals. It took him how many years? Like 14 years for him to win a cup? Sure. Do you really want to go that route? Sidney Crosby was drafted in 06. He won a cup in 09. Come on, man. Like, God bless you. I don't know why I keep saying God bless you. I'm not the most religious guy, but I'm feeling nostalgic tonight. I'm I was praying to God, that the Leafs could pull this thing out, and they didn't. So they lose in 5 games. Another tight contest. They didn't play poorly. They played as well as they possibly could, but they didn't win. Andrew Perry still learning. Yeah, 100%. They're not still learning, guys. But again, right now we're all feeling a cacophony of emotions. Like, how do you feel right now, OG's Conference? Me, as I told you, 47 years of age. Uh, I'm not the oldest guy. I mean, Mike's ancient. And there are a lot of guys I speak to in the 60s, 70s. Some of them remember a Leafs parade down Bay or Young. Others were kids and they barely remember it. I mean, it's just getting long in the tooth. It really is. This is the convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. OakRidgeFord.com is the website to go to. You can reach me at Norm at Oak Ridge Ford on Instagram. We do have some cars. If you're looking for a decently priced SUV, all-wheel drive with a heated steering wheel, heated seats, power tailgate, wireless Apple CarPlay, I have a really nice lease special right now on a 2023 Ford Escape Active. It's not the most dynamic thing you've ever seen in your life, but it gets the job done, and the payments are just stupid. Reach out to me right now at Norman Oak Ridge Ford on Instagram. Al M. Need a goalie. LOL. Wall was positionally sound and definitely should be the #1 next year. Joseph Wall was fantastic, and I'm not surprised. But we'll talk about Joseph Wall. We'll talk about potential signings in episodes to come. Just tonight, let it out, guys. Seriously, let it out. 171 people in the chat. And again, I'm very thankful you're here with me. I'm sure you will consume a lot of content over the next 24 hours. And God bless you. I should put that on the God bless him. That'll be the thumbnail tonight. Maybe, probably not, but it's true, right? You guys want to immerse yourself in as much content as you possibly can to get some comfort from what just happened. I expected more from the Maple Leafs. Even if after the regular season, Mike was picking the Lightning to win in 6, and I was juggling my predictions, whether it's going to be Lightning or Leafs in 7. We were all hopeful quietly. As much as there's that prevailing skepticism and that prevailing disappointment that after all these years, the Leafs aren't where we think they should have been, we're all quietly optimistic. And winning game 4 in Florida, pushing it back to Toronto, the Leafs lose again. Geez, one win at Scotiabank Arena in these playoffs. That's really, really bad. If the Leafs were terrible and just like egregiously inept, making mistake after mistake and embarrassing themselves, we would have more of a pot to piss in when it comes to pushing Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas off a cliff. But they weren't terrible. Like a lot of the support guys were phenomenal. The goaltending was great. It was as great as it could be. Just the stars, the top 4 guys couldn't get it done in the second round. Don't say they didn't show up, because they were there. They were trying. Florida had an answer for them, man. And then, there were a couple of breaks that just didn't go the Leafs' way. The TJ Brody delay of games. You know me, guys. I don't bitch about the officials too much. That was bullshit. You're right near the bench. You put that puck off the glass anywhere else, but there's no glass there. But give me a break. Let's go to Mr. Captain 93. Bring in Gerard Gallant. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about the head coaching situation in episodes to come. I'm not there right now. I don't want to fly off the handle. And you can tell I'm calm tonight, guys. I'm subdued. I'm cerebral. I'm relaxed because I'm trying to put this whole thing in perspective. I wanted the Maple Leafs to win. We all did. I didn't expect them to win. The 111 points in the regular season, be damned. I did not expect them to win. I've expected them to win in seasons past. They didn't get it done. Against Montreal, against Columbus, didn't get it done. Against Boston, one of the series, I figured they would. They didn't get it done. Then against Tampa, like last year, sure, let's go. We're the favorites. Couldn't do it. This year, I mean, how many times were we left at the altar? So I am calm. Where is that comment? Thank you, Norm. Michael Jack, thank you for being with me. We're 178 people in the chat. Larry Packlet, you are calm, Norm. I certainly am. Abbas Uden, 0 goals from Matthews. And we've been talking about it, Abbas. It's a problem. It's a problem. And, Austin Matthews has to sit with this all summer long. We have to get through tonight and then tomorrow and then watch. There's other playoff hockey. You'll probably tune in and check out some games just out of curiosity. When I was a little bit younger, I would be offended and I'd feel ashamed. That's how much I love the Maple Leafs. And all the while I was doing sportscasting in London, and we'd have the Leafs would lose. They'd be eliminated 72 games into the regular season, 10 games to go. The Red Wings, a team I totally respected but publicly despised, would keep on winning, and I had to do Red Wings games deep into playoff rounds, hoping they would lose, and they'd come back with seconds to go and then win cups, and it was just crazy. Pittsburgh, the same thing in those days. And all the while, I was just so disappointed in Maple Leafs. I was, my wife will tell you, I'm just on my knees in front of the TV. Can the Leafs win on this obscure night in February at Bell Center? Just to get a win to make me feel better. even if the Leafs were in seventh place or 11th. That's how much they meant to me. So all these years later, like I've got to have perspective, wife, kids, job, other things going on. I'm also a major baseball guy. The Blue Jays. I mean, the Jays are. I was a baseball player, college, professional. Love the game, but I also played hockey. The Leafs are the Leafs are just as big to me as the Blue Jays. It's just been really, really tough. So here we are all of these years later, and I have to put it in perspective. But I can understand how a lot of you are just really decimated right now. I don't blame you. You should be. You should love something. You should care about something. You really should. And the Leafs are the team you care about. And don't stop caring about them just because of what's happened. Because they didn't play terribly. They just got outplayed. They really did. Bowley, 6.99 donation. You didn't have to do that, man. We never asked for them. But Bow, you are an OG. Tonight, I anoint you an OG, and you're an OG going forward, okay? So thank you so much for that. Trade Matthews and Marner or Nylander. The proper return can probably fix this or just trade them all and start over. It's a bit of an irrational take, but I don't blame it. Like, how would you feel? Like, seriously. Like, this whole, like, we're getting there. Like, fuck. Sorry. Don't want to swear. No. I love swearing, but I'm not going to swear. No, don't give me that. We're getting there. We're not getting there. Okay. When you compare yourself to other organizations that have had generational players, then we're not getting there. And yeah, that's some big decisions for this organization, some soul searching for the guys in the organization, right? 100%. Andrew Perry, the course stinks. Yeah, John Tavares, you wonder about him, right? Like, I mean, in the the first round, he had the hat trick and then it went away and then came back. He was an '09 draft. What year is it? 2023. Like, that's a long time. That's a long time. And he's getting a bit long in the tooth. So we may have to designate John Tavares to support star. And he's not getting paid like it, but when his contract is up, I'm sure he will confront where he's at in his career and what he wants to accomplish. And if the Leafs are the team that he believes are making the right or taking the right steps towards positioning better for the playoffs, I gotta think he's going to consider staying in Toronto as opposed to I considered more staying in Toronto as opposed to leaving for some place. Then again, what happens when you leave for some place? Well, you turn out to be Freddie Anderson, and you're going to the conference finals with the Carolina Hurricanes. Stephen S. Norman, I love you, but you defend the core way too much and only hate Nylander. Matthews, 11 million and no goals. Tavares is the captain and is pretty crap. Stephen, I appreciate that comment. Thanks for being here. I haven't hated on Nylander for quite some time. He scored a big goal tonight. I just told you it's a standard Nylander goal coming down the wing with crazy speed, creeping in, finding a hole upstairs, and he did. Awesome stuff. The thing with Nylander is he's the piece to move, and whether you love him or hate him, when you are structurally the guy who can be moved based on how much you're making and the kind of contract that you were signed to, then so be it, right? We'll see how it all plays out, Stephen. I honestly have no clue where this is going to go. 182 people in the chat. Steve, thanks so much for your comment tonight. Moving Nylander is not enough. I agree with you 100%. I certainly agree with you. And there's going to be a couple of factions that are created from this loss. There's the scorched earth, and then make the like the limited adjustments. Scorched earth isn't going to work. This organization's not in a position to bottom out. I'm sorry, it's just not there. I'm going to throw something out here, and this is, please don't run with it. Don't run with it. But where this organization could potentially go, and I doubt it will, in terms of making a major change, would be to allow or to trade Austin Matthews. And some people would believe the organization to be absolutely insane to do so. But trade Austin Matthews and position yourself to sign Connor McDavid when he becomes a free agent. And if the Leafs move Matthews, the writing's on the wall, and McDavid's not re-signing in Edmonton. He won't go anywhere else but the Leafs. That is the most ideal situation you could ever write, and is still pretty limited. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's more likely that happens than the Leafs bottom out and start trading pieces to rebuild. No way. It's certainly not going to happen, especially if Kyle Dubas is brought back on to continue the fight. Hurt Locker 66. I agree with Leafs Convo. I agree with you, Hurt Locker. I mean, you've been an absolute convert. Thank you so much for being here as much as you have been throughout the season. Peter Fulbert, Matthews just didn't give the required effort in the playoffs. Almost embarrassing, to be honest. See, I disagree. And again, this is going to be me coming across as the defender of the core four. He played hard. So there's a couple things. He played hard, and there were games where he was blocking shots and taking hits and giving hits. Either he's at this point still not good enough to elevate his game to where his opposition can't match him in the playoffs, or Florida just did one heck of a job shutting him down. Absolutely shutting him down. Folding donut. No way McDavid is coming to Toronto, to the Toronto Jinx. I just threw it out there. Remember, this is a guy who was nearly in tears when the Leafs did. And this thing keeps getting on me here. This is a guy who was nearly in tears when the Leafs didn't win that draft lottery all those years ago, right? And if he doesn't re-up in Edmonton, which he won't, and it's not because Edmonton sucks, I just can't see Connor McDavid being the guy who plays 19 years in Edmonton, whether he wins a cup or not. The Leafs could position themselves to get him, and I don't see how, jinx or not, the Leafs aren't in the mix, or how Connor McDavid isn't strongly considering coming to Toronto to be the guy. And that'd be great, but what's Connor McDavid in his late 20s versus in his teens? It's all conjecture, it's all speculation. We have no clue. The Leafs lose 3-2 in overtime to the the Florida Panthers. Almost gave the football team a shout out tonight. Certainly not a football score. The Florida Panthers take down the Leafs in Game 5 of their second round Stanley Cup playoff series, and that's all she wrote, winning 4-1. The Leafs losing this series a lot sooner than most of us projected. When you think about the Leafs and the fan base wanting the Panthers over the Bruins. So for all of us, this result is a real slap in the face. We had it coming. We wanted the Panthers because we're going to take the Panthers out. We beat them 3-1 in the 4-game series in the regular season. And how did it turn out for us in the playoffs? Right? And why is that? Because the playoffs are different. 100%. Mark Dag, I'm done with the Leafs. We'll never win the prize. Feels like that. Feels like that. I remember last year's goodbye after the 7-game loss to the Lightning. And then the year before that, I remember I went on a drive. The Leafs were up 3-1. I went on a drive. I don't know where the hell I was, but I was listening to the radio, and I had the Sirius satellite on, and which shows you the score. I don't know if any of you guys notice this. It shows you the score. I just got a text from one of my clients and one of my baseball buddies. You up? Like, what is this, a booty call? Get out of here, man. My wife's watching. No, she's not. Why would she watch this garbage? So I'm going on a drive, and they're showing the score in the cluster. F-150, beautiful. 2021, one of my best trucks ever. Lariat, roof, amazing. So they're showing the score, and I'm trying not to see the score, and I'm listening to the game. And they're up 3-1. I'm thinking, just, and it went to overtime, and they lost. And then they lost the series. Like, give me a break, right? So I could, the disappointment is insane. They were supposed to beat Tampa last year, supposed to beat Montreal, had to beat Columbus in that stupid little 5-game series in the bubble or whatever it was, and they didn't, right? And now when they're not supposed to win, they do, and then when they're supposed to win, they don't. So let's forever, as a collective, always pick the Leafs to lose a series. Plastic bag. Matthews, no goals. No shit. No shit. And we can debate this, guys. Was the one of the best players in the world just like completely smothered and not given the Anthony Caricato. There's another. I'm gonna make this guy an OG. I've known him for 2 minutes, but what are you gonna do? You know, when you're part of a certain genre, you become an OG. If you're not an OG, I end up swimming with the fishes. So, hey, Anthony, the OG, cool down on the swish tonight, bud. Um, the thing about it, guys, is that Austin Matthews is a generational player. He's up there with the McDavids, right? I mean, who else? Sidney Crosby in his prime, Ovechkin in his prime. The guy is one of the best goal scorers of the last 6-7 years. Didn't score a goal when it counted the most. So what do we attribute that to? Is it just him losing his nerve? The guy played hard. It's Florida. Florida just smothered him, right? Florida took him to task, and he had no answer for it. The thing about it is that the guy's been around a while now, and that like how is this some kind of gradual elevation to ultimate success? Is he going to be the next Ovechkin? Is he going to end up with this organization for all of his career and then finally win it when he's in his mid-30s? I hope not. But plastic bag, I get you, brother. Alan Tam, Dale Simpson. Pasternak is the real deal, not Matthews. Well, Pasternak didn't make it past the first round, so forget about it. Let's just, again, let's just stick to tonight, guys. We're going to be able to dissect this in so many different ways over the next few days, weeks, months to come. Jim Georgiadis. It just boils down to a failure in management. Dubas had success playing this style in the OHL, but refuses to change philosophy and will always lose. The kid was never ready to be Leafs GM. If it was a complete bust, Jimmy, in the first couple of years, I'd say, yeah, but he's been around since what, 2018, 2017, 2018, or something like that. Remember, we can and we will. He's made adjustments. I mean, he's altered his plan. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think he keeps his job, and I I think he fires Sheldon Keefe. Not necessarily because Sheldon Keefe did him wrong or screwed the organization or failed to get these guys ready to play. I think he's just going to go with another direction. The reason being is that it's, hey, Kyle, you're going to keep your job, not because we want you to extend your plan, but you've had your plan. Now you make the adjustments. We like your ingenuity, your innovation. We like some of the deadline deals you've made. We like your passion, your commitment. Like, also, it'll depend on the candidates out there. The Leafs aren't going scorched earth to rebuild. Dubas has built a lot of, he's either augmented, strengthened the elements that were already here, and he certainly added to them with his own touch. And bringing guys like Riley in and Shen in, those are two dudes that I would try to like. O'Reilly, sorry, I want to resign. It's going to take some Skrilla, but I'd want to resign. I want that guy for a full season if he can stay healthy. And Luke Shen, he's a free agent. For a couple of bucks, bring him in. Seriously, bring him in. Who's the defenseman waiting with the Marlies who's ready to go gangbusters? Like Timothy Liljegren was terrible tonight, and I never castigate players ever. He was just like a deer in the headlights on the biggest stage when the chips were down and his services were needed the most. So a guy like Luke Shen, who's been rock solid, did everything you expected him to do. Why wouldn't you want him back? And Kyle Dubas acquired those guys. So let Kyle Dubas sign these dudes up and take another shot at it with a different philosophy and a different mindset. That's what I'm thinking. Then again, if the board wants to go scorched earth, wants to completely gut the management group, have at it. I'm here for it. I want to see what happens. Paul Adriano, a name I don't recognize. Paul, thanks for being here. Bettman won this game. The officiating, like, see that goal that was not called, or I don't know how you would describe that. Um, the evidence was inconclusive. That's the problem, and the way Bobrovsky sold that was pretty veteran savvy. So, yeah, the thing looked like it crossed the line. It was under his skate. I just don't know when the whistle blew, and that's an issue. So that was a problem. Would have been nice for the Leafs to get that, but if they're given that goal, does William Nylander score? We don't know how things would have transpired, following that call going in the Leafs' favor. It was, it's just the Leafs being down two minutes in overtime because of a stupid delay of game. I'm sorry, there's no glass. If there's glass there, he pops that puck off the glass, and that puck bounces back into play, and we're just going. At the boards like that, oh, you got to watch yourself, guys. Bullshit, man. Like that was and that just set the Leafs back 2 minutes. Where that's 2 minutes they could have, got something together and taken some more opportunities. It just it, you know, you can go on about Wes McCauley, you can go on about the league. Look, ha- if the Leafs had the prowess, if the Leafs had the dominance that we've seen in the regular season, and that we were so expecting based on all of these guys and their personal accolades in the playoffs, we wouldn't have to worry about the officiating. The officiating could do all it could to bring the Leafs down, and it would be futile because the Leafs were just that great. Forget being a regular season um, dynamo and breaking records and winning personal trophies. Guys, I think we're all past it now. What we want to see is April, and a great effort in April. Sure, there's a long way between now and then, and there's lots of things that can transpire in the off season and the regular season. We're just going to continue to cover it week after week. But I think we're all getting the point that the regular season success and all of the accolades and all of the patting on the back is old now for a team that's done all of that. It's the second season and the playoff success that has not been fully realized and accomplished, and that uh, makes this team leaving a lot to be desired, and a group that you'd expect to do more, not doing enough. I'm going to shut down here in a couple of minutes. We're almost 200 people in the chat. We'll have thousands by the morning. Ray Sherman, if it makes you feel any better, I saw how Carolina dealt with New Jersey. Florida is not ready to face them. It doesn't make me feel any better. I don't care, and I don't have any ill will towards Florida. Like, really, Sam Bennett and Matthew Nyes. If it was Matthew Nyes leveling Sam Bennett, we'd give two shits, right? That's the playoffs, man. And that's the thing about the playoffs. A lot of things happen. A lot of crazy shit happens. You got to be ready for it. You got to embrace it, right? You got to find a new gear. And that's it. Guys like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, especially in the second series, second round, where's your second gear? They didn't have one. They didn't have a gear last year for the first round loss, and when we saw it against Montreal as well. Where's your second gear? You need a second gear, third gear, fourth gear. The Leafs somehow got through Tampa. In a lot of ways, it was puck luck and putting shots on Andre Vasilevsky and having them kind of trickle through and getting the breaks. Good, and that's all part of the process. But when we look back at the 6 games or sorry, the 11 games from both series, were the Leafs like really that impressive in the playoffs? Really, other than game 2 against Tampa? Not really. They just kind of got it done, and that's not going to get it done. Your generational talent has to step up. Pat Kane was a force for the 3 Stanley Cups that Chicago won. Sidney Crosby, an absolute force. Evgeny Malkin, an absolute force in the success that the Panthers had, or sorry, the Penguins had, and during their runs. And you look at the Oilers. I mean, they've got some issues too, but their top guys score, and the Leafs' top guys just can't seem to get it done when it matters the most. So that's the issue here, guys, and that's what Kyle Dubas. in a situation where he can either keep his job or lose his job, has to convey to the board that, look, I got you into this mess. I'll get you out of it. And I think that's the way it's going to go, and I'm okay with it. A few more comments, and then I'll split. Gospel testimony. Matthews. Yeah, the thing about Matthews, guys, is he's the big shot. He's the big daddy. He makes all the money, and he's going to make even more money. One of the best scorers of this generation. And when you don't score in a playoff series where your team needs you desperately, you're going to face the heat. You're going to deal with the heat. Can you overcome the heat? That's the question, right? And in the back of my mind, I'm wondering whether another venue is better for some of these cats, and whether that potentially new and refreshed and revitalized venue offers better opportunity for these cats. And are we going to watch guys like Nylander and maybe Matthews, maybe a few other dudes, Justin Hall and some of these other guys, are they going to go elsewhere and win, just like the Freddie Andersons are doing, and Tyler Bozaks have done, and Luke Schenns have done? It's possible. Can't really worry about what happens elsewhere. It's about what's going on with this crew. Mr. Chris 2002, score 4 goals in your first game as a Leaf and you are set for life. The vitriol and the frustration directed towards Matthews, I don't know if it's deserved, but it's understood. It's understood. You the Panthers, the thing about the Panthers is they weren't all world. They just worked hard, and they played up the middle, and they took advantage of their opportunities. Like that first period today, the Leafs had a ton of shots on Bobrovsky, and he was under siege, and they go back the other way and score. One time, score. Like it's just, it's frustrating. It really is. But the Panthers did what they had to do to get through the Leafs. They were phenomenal against Boston and lucked out an overtime win, and then just kept that momentum rolling. The Leafs had no answer for it, and the top guys didn't score. End of story. The goaltending was fine in the series, right? Veets, team lacks emotion. Well, William Nylander said, "Let's go," after he scored his goal to tie it. He said, "Let's go." Emotion, right? Too little, too late. Faster K9. Let's go, Jays. Chris Bassett, 2 hits tonight. First complete game for the Jays since 2015. It's insane. Nobody throws complete games anymore, and that's okay. I'm fine with conserving pitchers' arms, and delegating to guys in the bullpen. No problem. Certainly not throwbacks to the 236 pitch Nolan Ryan 13 and incomplete games. Those were abusive days. Today, I think some of the guys are a bit coddled, but that's for another discussion at another time. Maybe Mike and I will revitalize our Yankees podcast, where we kind of hit the Jays versus the Yankees in a conversation, because Mike loves his Yankees. I grew up on the Blue Jays. I think a lot of the OGs here, a lot of the converts, if you're from Southwestern Ontario and you do like a sport other than hockey, you probably love the Blue Jays too. God bless you. See me with my Jays hat. Al M. Again, Matthews had a good game tonight. He is paid to have great games. That's fair. That's fair. Brad Tyndall. You saw that, Norm? 1 second of emotion, not enough. Right. Alistair Arbor. Hang in there, Normie. The sun will shine again. Hate to see you like this, man. Alistair, brother, thank you so much for the support, and thank you so much for the sentiments. If I'm giving off the this impression of sadness, it's it's probably because I'm dead tired and I've worked all day and it's late. I'm not. I wasn't nervous for this game. I was a little bit on edge in the last few seconds of regulation, and then into overtime. And who wouldn't be? I'm a human. But I wasn't nervous for this game. There was just the expectations were that the Leafs were going to lose. I was hoping that they would prolong it. So I'm good. Like, again, Alistair, I don't know where you are on the demographic scale, and this isn't about ageism. This isn't about pitting Gen X versus millennials versus Gen Z or whatever the hell, Gen Y. I don't know. What is it? What's the next generation? This is just about where you are in the fandom scale of this team and how long you've been on this road and how much disappointment you've had to endure. Before me, I'm a Gen X or 47. If you were I guess, a early Gen X or a boomer, you remembered some kind of success, but that success is negated by all of the things that have happened over the last half century and how things have changed. And now the league went from 6 teams to 21 and then to 28, 29, 30, 31. So that's what it was back in the day. I've been around for a lot of near success, near um, you know near opportunities to win big, and then I've been around for a lot of futility, like a lot. So uh, I'm desensitized to it at this point, Alistair. And if you're new to the convo, brother, and you want to look back at a lot of the content we've done over the last several years, be my guest. You're probably the only one who wants to go back into the archives to suffer alongside of us again and again and again, but it's all there. And I, I I was pretty reserved after last year's loss, the loss to Montreal, the loss to Columbus, the losses to Boston. So yeah, if I'm giving off that impression, probably not fully accurate. A lot of other things going on, but I appreciate the sentiments, and I've got your back too, Alistair. Please come back to the program over the next few days. We're going to do some locker cleanout stuff, bit of a post-mortem. We'll eulogize the team, and then we'll wipe the slate clean and look ahead to the 23-24 season. T. Matthews vibe is off, like Betty White. Okay, yeah, I gotta watch out with that. John Henderson. Say goodnight, Norm. We got this. John, I think you've summed it up for us. The Leafs, a 3-2 loser to the Florida Panthers in Game 5 of their second round Stanley Cup playoff series. Nick Paul did it to them last year. Nick Cousins ends their playoff dreams in 2023 from Radko fucking Gudis. Sorry, just had to let that one out. The Leafs were trying to acquire Radko Gudas a couple of years ago. We probably did a podcast on it. Type in Gudas and see what you come up with. It's probably not fun. T. LOL. Norm, bless. Back at you, my friend. So the season's over, and that's that. So you can choose to continue to watch hockey, watch teams that don't necessarily represent you, but allow you to continue to follow the game, and you won't have any kind of skin in it. You won't be invested in what these teams are trying to accomplish, but you can just watch hockey emotion free, right? Or you can just shit it all down, forget hockey, forget sports, do whatever the hell you do. And then another option would be what I'm going to elect to do, and that is to kind of immerse myself into the Blue Jays and probably be disappointed by them in October. That's the way she goes. And the way she went for the Maple Leafs is another fantastic regular season, followed by playoff disappointment. Okay, so yeah, hang in there. Okay, we'll reconvene here in the next few days. I don't know what is today, Friday. Then we got Saturday. So Mike and I will probably do a spectacular, and we'll look back on the season. We'll speculate on what's to come, and then we'll maybe trickle in another episode or two, and then we'll conclude season 5 of the Convo, which has been our most successful season since I think probably 18-19, and that says a lot. It really does. So we owe you guys a lot, and then we'll kind of pick away at season 6. So again, like the content, subscribe to the channel. OGs, we love you. Converts, thanks for being here. And those of you who are trying to figure out whether this is the place to be, stick around. We have certainly a lot of fun. The Leafs were trying, and I know you guys are too. Don't be ashamed of your team. Don't be ashamed of yourselves. I can't say this is going to happen eventually, but what will happen is our bond will continue to strengthen. All based around the love and the love for this team and the frustration surrounding it. And that's a given, right? 100%. Joe Shedler, OG 100% from day one. Night, Norm. Night to all you guys too. Hang in there. Talk to you soon.